Hello everyone, I am Sean Evans and I will discuss our research on the effects of the proposed import tariff on solar components. We must consider a few economic things that are probable results of these tariffs. I will discuss these things in the following slides in detail, starting with dumping and how that action leads countries to enact protectionism. These protectionist activities can cause other countries to retaliate, and that may lead to a trade war if not resolved diplomatically. Dumping occurs when manufacturers export a product to another country at a price below their domestic price. They charge a higher price domestically and a lower price to foreign markets. The objective of dumping is to increase market share in a foreign market by driving out competition and thereby creating a monopoly situation where the exporter will be able to control the price and quality of the product. Trump states that we need to adopt import tariffs of 20% on solar components to combat dumping by China. China is a developing country and depends on its large amount of exports to bring economic development to their country. China has been under investigation of dumping by many countries over the last few decades. Anti-dumping activities have been to impose import restrictions to protect domestic industries. Now, the issue is the rise of multinational enterprises and decades of trade liberalization has undermined anti-dumping ineffective in protecting domestic industries. Surely, anti-dumping measures can cost exporters and even control and even totally exclude them from the market, but multinational enterprises can dodge those import tariffs with trade diversion. China's multinational enterprises can fill the vacuum within a very short period of time by selling to unrestricted foreign market alternatives. Affiliates of multinational enterprises can sell products directly to host country markets, thus jumping both tariff and non-tariff barriers, including anti-dumping concerns. Multinational enterprises can also use domestic industries to initiate anti-dumping investigations so that they can reap the market local share of the inhabited country. The dumping situation is the reason why the U.S. under Trump's new import tariff is seeking protective action. Protectionism is the theory of shielding a country's domestic industries from foreign competition by taxing imports. The government imposing the tariff is looking to restrict imports of foreign goods and services to protect its own industries. The import tariff will also generate revenue for the domestic country. There are many ways a nation could benefit by adopting a trade protectionist policy. Some of the benefits is that it protects domestic industries and jobs. Protecting workers' livelihood and the industries that employ them are necessary to a nation's economic growth and well-being. The situation is that without trade protectionism, a nation could lose long-established industries that first made a product in a nation. Domestic solar production industries can reap profits by being shielded from foreign competition's lower prices. Domestic solar industry has room to grow without larger, more competitive markets pricing them out of the market. Under protectionism, we also have the infant industry argument, which was first put forth by Alexander Hamilton. This idea states that new manufacturers have an extremely difficult time competing against well-established, well-funded, extremely profitable companies in developed countries. New manufacturers in developing nations may not have the economic and financial resources, as well as the technological, physical equipment, research and development expertise to compete against older and established firms. Governments must put into place short-term support mechanisms for the infant solar industries until they have reached a level so they can compete with foreign companies in order for infant domestic solar industries to gain market share and a competitive edge. A key effect of trade protectionism is that consumers will have a limited choice of products and goods because of the solar tariffs imposed. The protective tariff will limit consumer choice of the quantity, quality, and type of product that they would otherwise be available to them without trade protectionism. Consumers will be forced to pay higher prices for goods, products, and commodities that they need to survive. And domestic solar installation firms may also be hurt financially since they may have to purchase parts of a higher price and then pass the increased costs onto their consumers. Overall, global competition is a key factor in keeping the price of numerous goods and products down and give consumers the ability to spend. Import tariffs may cause retaliatory actions that may cause a trade war. A key problem with trade protectionism is that nations will retaliate if they cannot sell their goods and products in markets where they normally could. No matter if the nations are allies or not, other nations will impose countervailing tariffs in order to retaliate against another nation's tariffs. The most famous trade war reprisal that occurred in the history of the United States was the Smoot-Hawley Act in June of 1931. The Smoot-Hawley Act intended to protect American companies and industries. It increased tariffs by an average of 20% on more than 20,000 imported products and goods. This ultimately caused global trade to drop by 67% and American exports to fall as much as 75%. It is important to be conservative with trade tariffs because they can easily start a trade war, and a trade war can easily lead to another outcome.
This is not the first time America has attempted to impose solar tariffs on China. During 2012 and 2015, America imposed solar tariffs on China. However, these tariffs have been largely ineffective due to the fact that China would move their production facilities to other countries such as Vietnam and Germany. These past tariffs failed to save U.S. solar manufacturing from international competition. As of right now, there are only 14 solar cell manufacturers in the United States. In addition to this, tariffs imposed on Chinese solar products led to a retaliatory ban on U.S. produced polysilicon in China. Since talks of these solar tariffs began, module prices have increased, and this is unique to the United States alone. Even though the costs of several other components have dropped, for the first time ever we have seen an increase in the cost to install solar. As you can see in this graph, with every section except for residential, we saw an increase in second half pricing and the cost to install. And even with residential, our updated second half is greater than what we expected. Due to the fact that our cost to install has increased, our installation capacity has dropped. As you can see in the graph on the left, the black line represents the base case, while the various colored lines represent various levels of the tariff. As you can see, the higher percentage of the tariff, the lower our installation capacity is. What are the implications of this? Well, installation accounts for 51.7% of solar-related jobs in the United States, as opposed to 14.7% for manufacturing. Due to the fact that our installation capacity has dropped, it is estimated that we will see a reduction of 11% in U.S. solar installations from 2018 to 2022. The Solar Energy Industry Association estimates a loss of 23,000 jobs in 2018 alone. Then again, these tariffs were designed to boost U.S. manufacturing, so let's get into that. As we know, these tariffs only last 4 years. Due to the fact that it takes a minimum of a year to build a solar manufacturing plant, the window of potential benefit for domestic manufacturing is short. It would be year 2, year 3, and year 4. And this is under the best case scenario, assuming that U.S. manufacturing is beneficial during this time frame. Dad, I've left them out there for a reason. I'm trying to record this and they're making a bunch of noise.
Come on, go. Come on, Joe. Come on, Daisy. Come on, Daisy. Come on, Lucy.
Christ.
Is this your dad company?
No.
Can you do it on Alex's computer?
I already started it. I don't want to redo the whole thing.
Mary, it's quiet, Mary.
It has to be completely quiet.
It is. I'm not going to say anything. Just going to eat.
Due to this, billions of dollars of investments in solar energy are projected to be canceled. Combine this with the fact that our installation capacity has dropped. This will likely lead to slower growth of solar energy in the United States. This creates a negative externality because this is not good for the environment, especially considering that the US is one of the larger emitter countries. In addition, this could help spur jobs for competing industries such as coal, which again is bad for the environment. Based on what I just said, I believe that these tariffs are a bad policy and that we would be better off without them. This is due to the fact that the tariffs focus too much on the manufacturing sector. Manufacturing in America has been steadily declining since the 1960s, and for good reason. America has been at its best when we were innovating. The United States are world beaters when we are relentlessly innovating. Commodity production does not play into our strengths.